Hey everyone, this is Steve Weintraub from Collider, and we are here in San Diego at Comic-Con in our studio, as you can tell by the ocean behind us. I really want to give a huge thank you to you guys for coming in for The Rookie. How are you both doing?
Excellent.
Excellent.
Yeah, anytime you're at Comic-Con, you're here to celebrate some kind of success. So if you're here, everything's going great.
100%. I have so many questions for you about The Rookie, but I like throwing a little curves or a few curves at the beginning. I'm obsessed with getting more people to see movies in movie theaters. And so for both of you, do you have a favorite movie theater?
I do.
I know what yours is going to say. Go ahead.
Mine is the iPic. The iPic, there's one in Westwood, there's one in Pasadena. It's reclining chairs, some good food. I go when I'm hungry and don't eat beforehand. And yeah, that's the way to see a movie.
I like the Egyptian because the two times I've been there have been for premieres. Both for Superman and then for Exorcist the Beginning, which was the prequel that I was the last writer standing on. So it felt like it's the premier movie theater to me. So
wait, the Chinese was...
Is that where we went? Was it the Chinese?
That's the Chinese. That's the only thing.
Okay, so I'm wrong.
The Egyptian's down at the end of Sunset, and it has the most incredible lake.
Oh, all right. So I screwed it up.
But they're both great.
Okay, great.
Here at Comic-Con, a lot of people collect things. And I'm curious, for both of you, do you collect anything? Or if you're on the Comic-Con floor, what would you be looking to buy or looking for?
I have a fairly large comic book collection. That being said, I haven't actually collected comics in a while at this point. I kind of fell off on it, and honestly, my old eyes have a hard time reading comics now. Just like, I don't know, there's something about panel layouts and stuff that it's a little harder for me to input it, so...
You should do the iPad apps for comics because they make the panels much bigger. Yeah. I collect flashlights.
Interesting.
Weird. And fidgets.
Oh, yeah. Are you being sincere?
Not the spinners. More like a clickety-clack, things with haptic, kind of magnetic. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. They quiet my mind.
Nathan's a very big gadget guy.
I love gadgets. I collect
really
gadgets
does.
as well, yes. Also
yeah,
gadgets,
and also very generous. Anytime anybody comes to set, guest stars, stuff like that, they'll find something in their trailer. You know, depending what,
gift,
whatever.
Some nice headphones, battery for their phones, a Bluetooth speaker, something like that. Yeah.
Nathan, I have an individual question for you. It's really hard. Most actors, if they win the actor lottery, they get to be on one show that lasts multiple seasons. Yeah. You have won the actors lottery a lot. You had Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place.
Yes.
You had Castle.
Yes.
Now you have The Rookie.
Yes.
Like, honestly, how have you? I don't know what the question is, but like, how the F have you like done it? Because it is impossible to do what you've managed to do.
I can't tell you that if you do this, then you'll get TV shows and they'll run for a long time. But I will tell you that the 3 steps to what I consider being successful are be lucky, be grateful, and pretending to be bold.
Okay. Moving into now, next question. Have you sent a thank you card to Robot Chicken for helping you get Green Lantern?
Actually, Robot Chicken got me in there because I was Green Lantern before for Andrea Romano. She used to pilfer the Joss Whedon projects for casting different DC shows, WB stuff, all the animated stuff. So I was Hal Jordan in that first, and then Robot Chicken had me continue that role, and I think kept me in the minds of those who think about Green Lanterns. Yeah,
it's just funny. If you watch Robot Chicken now, you hear, it's just, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's very funny. Yes, all right. So one of the things about The Rookie, and I'm so curious about this, what have you learned every season, and especially the first few seasons, you learn how to make a show, you know, like what can you do in the budget? What can you do on the schedule? Yeah. And so I'm really curious, how has the show sort of refined its process? Or is it sort of like you have a process for each season, each week, you sort of have a machine and it's really synced up?
I mean, it's a bit of a complicated answer, partly just because of the obstacles that we've all gone through over the last 8 years, right? With the pandemic and the strike. And so and even with, you know, the murder of George Floyd and having to deal with how to be a police show in the time where policing still remains a complicated thing. So, you know, I think season 1 was a traditional season 1 where we did some stuff right, we did some stuff wrong, some stuff was a clusterfuck. But like, ultimately, that's where you start to learn how to make the show, what's expensive that you didn't think would be expensive, how to do a smaller episode. At this point, having gone through all of those things, we definitely know where the kind of episodes we can do that are small budget wise, but don't feel small when you watch them. And so it allows us, this season allowed us to go to Prague and go $1 million over budget on that first episode, knowing that we had ways to be commensurately under budget during the course of the season to get us back to even.
It is a dance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Alexi has the legs of a dancer.
Aw.
A lot of people don't realize, though, like I always make a joke about Star Trek and how some episodes the ship would lose power and everyone had flashlights.
Yeah.
And it was a flashlight episode because in 3 episodes there was going to be a huge Klingon battle.
Yeah.
And you got to save your money and pick your battles. Your season 7 finale had like helicopter. It was like really big episode. So talk a little bit about, had you purposely been like saving to deploy additional resources for the finale?
Yes, exactly. So we usually go big at the beginning and big at the end. And then during the course of the season, we have certain episodes that we know, they used to be called bottles, right? Bottle episode, that's the one where everybody's trapped in a room and that's the whole episode. But we actually do a version of bottles where we're out a run around the city. One of them is, we call it the Podcar episode, which we only film after the very beginning and get out of it at the end on body cameras and dash cams and security cameras. And the whole storytelling is that, which makes... We shoot a lot faster that way because, the cameras are the cameras. We don't have extra takes or extra setups. And they've gotten really good at being camera operators themselves. And they actually compete a little bit about who can get a cleaner shot and all that kind of stuff. So that's one, the true crime documentary episodes that we started doing during the pandemic are other ones because there's so much talking head stuff that they end up being smaller episodes, but they don't feel small. So I think it's a little unique to our show, given that we do so many different things that we can do that and you feel like you're not missing out on anything.
Nathan, what do you think would surprise fans to learn about the making of this series or being on set?
I think they'd be surprised to see what the pod car, we keep mentioning this pod car, what that rig actually looks like. When we're in the pod car, there are about 5 cameras and lights set up across the front of and coming into the windows on the side. We can't see anything out the front. There's a fella in a rig up at the top who is actually doing all the driving. We are in a caravan, about 6 motorcycle cops, 2 vans full of crew and directors. We're all connected and we drive around the city trying to make sure we match the light for the direction we're going in. We have to hit those lines. It's hard to go back. And those are interesting.
But that's literally why the show is the show, the pod car, because we're literally driving around Los Angeles. We're filming out the windows. We're filming them in the environment. And we're doing it basically in real time because we shoot both directions at the same time, which means if you have, Nathan in one seat and let's say Selena in the other, then we're shooting them both at the same time. So you don't have to go back and match coverage. If he had a great moment at a stoplight, we don't have to find a stoplight, like it's being filmed in real time. And so it allows the show to really just exist driving around the world rather than process trailers and all that kind
of
stuff.
But it's a real team effort. We are all in it, and it is a choreographed effort. It's a lot of fun, but it takes experience. But we have a crew that these guys are fantastic. Yeah. These guys are fantastic, and a cast that knows their job.
There's a few people like Collider who watch and love the show, and they gave me a few questions. I would like to read them out of respect, so I do it right. How do you think Chenford fans will react to the progress of their relationship? This season, and will the 2 characters achieve stability like the other couples on the show?
When you have a romance on the show, when are people ever happy?
They're happy when they're together. I think that's a pretty simple.
Okay, right.
That's a pretty simple thing. I think the short answer is yes. How's that?
Sure.
Okay, great.
I'll leave that. Can you tease any of the new rookies coming in season 8? And if there are some new rookies coming in, how does Nolan interact with them as the TO?
I don't know that I can tease anything like that coming into season 8. I mean, ultimately, down the line, I can't really tease that yet. There's some spoilers in there I don't want to get into. So,
sure.
Yeah.
What do you want to say about Monica showing up at the end of season 7 and what that all means for everyone?
I'm very excited about that. Part of the joy of figuring out some of our villains is like how to keep them fresh and stuff like that. So Monica showing up with an immunity deal was a great button to the end of the season. I think that ultimately it's going to generate some great stories for us going forward, like our trip to Prague, because ultimately part of her immunity deal is helping us catch a few bad guys. So now she becomes part of the team. Like, it's a weird thing.
Yeah, the one you love to hate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very curious, like, what is it like for you? How early on did you know, like, the season 7 finale? How much are you being told throughout the season, and how much do you sort of want to know script by script? I'll take it like that.
You know, part of working with Alexi is the fact that you're very good at your job.
Oh, thanks.
I am a terrible television writer. I'm a pretty good actor. But as far as it goes to writing and plotting things out, I leave that to the professionals. And Alexi has that handled. If I were worried about it, I would think I would be more interested about, okay, what's going to happen next? And do I need to say something? Hands off the wheel, man. It's like the pod car.
Yeah.
I'm not actually driving.
I do take great joy in coming to set sometimes and talking to the actors and obviously you about some stuff that's coming up, just to give them a heads up, you know, what the storylines for their characters and stuff like that. So he's not completely out of the loop, but I also appreciate that you're like, oh, you're handling that. I got my thing I got to handle, and we're good.
Yes.
One of the other things about season 7 is when you guys were all at the end and you're seeing Monica, you're teasing about the national security secrets being stolen. What can you say about that? And how much does that tie into going to Prague?
I mean, ultimately, it sort of is sort of putting the bow on the story about the bus hijack in episode 11, right? Because that's where she first showed up again, and you know there was something about an ID card being stolen on that bus is the real reason for that hijacking, and so we sort of left that hanging in that episode, and then that ultimately is how she got the information to blackmail and leverage national security. So I was happy that we could tie that off. And then, yeah, I mean, ultimately this deal that she's made has an active part of it, which is you now have to help the FBI and ultimately an LAPD FBI task force in like bringing in some bad guys. So,
and pardon me for not knowing, where are you in the filming process of the new season? Like where?
We're just about to start episode 3.
Yeah, we started yesterday. I think was our first day. Yeah.
So what do you want to tease? What are you allowed to say about the season?
You want to ask me? Look, I think, you know, the joy of our show is really we do so many different things. So we can do a big event episode like Prague, you know, where we go international and do all this kind of stuff. And we can do episodes that are more intense and more sort of scary. And I think episode 3, without giving it away, is one of those that ends up being a very actually different episode for us. Something very intense, something very interrogation room driven and, you know, with high stakes but not real action. And then, you know, we have stories in between. We do romantic comedy episodes. We do have a Valentine's Day episode again this season, which is always fun. So, yeah, I mean, it's just a joy to go. We have all these different kinds of ways that we can do the rookie. And so let's just keep doing them all the time. Yeah.
Do you, I know you've answered this and I apologize for the generic nature, but like, do you have a favorite storyline or a favorite episode, something that, you know, really stands out for you?
I love to see John Nolan fail. I love to see him being handed his shirt. It just because that's where true character, that's where character comes into play, and you build character by failing.
Yeah, I mean, some of my favorites, you know, obviously the Harold Perrineau, you know, season 2 into 3, like that sort of Detective Armstrong, that relationship, that friendship that became a betrayal and how you got set up. And like, that was all really, really dynamic. So John
Nolan's mother, when she was around, this was, you know, he's not a perfect man. He's not a perfect character. His relationship with his mother was awful. And he's okay with that. Yeah. Yeah, like those kinds of things where you find out he's imperfect. Yeah, it was interesting because
on that storyline, you know, when she died and you had to go back, there was a sense, which I think is a natural sense, to want to round the edge off that, to have some sort of moment of like, oh, she might have been awful, but she was my mom. Yeah. And I just really felt like she was awful.
She was awful.
We didn't have to like let her off the hook. We didn't have to give you sort of a cathartic moment. We just had to sort of put you in that world and see the pain that you went through having to clean up after that mess, which that was a good one.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm just about out of time, but I have to ask you, I am so looking forward to Lanterns. And what can you tease?
Well,
there's cursing.
There's cursing. So when I went and did the recruit for Alexi, my character got to curse a lot, and I thought it was very freeing. It was very nice. I thought, oh my God, I dropped a couple of F-bombs and said some bad words in here. Looks like you can do that on Netflix. And then I went to Lanterns, again, thanks to Alexi, because gave me the time and the ability to go out and do other projects. And I dropped more F-bombs than I have, I think, in my entire career put together in one scene of Lanterns. Yeah. He really lets loose.
Really? But I'm also so curious because what's really cool about Lanterns, and James has talked about it, and Damon, basically that it's going to be like a different tone, a different show than what people saw in Superman, you know, but it's still the same character, but it's like a mystery on Earth and there's 3 Green Lanterns. How do the 3 of you get along? What is that like if you can tease?
I think everybody hates Guy Gardner pretty consistently. He's unlikable and he doesn't mind. He's okay with that. I think he's a very defensive guy. I think he feels he's a guy with a chip on his shoulder. He doesn't want anybody close to him, but he also doesn't care what anybody thinks. That's a hard guy to get close to. That guy's brain damaged, you know.
Yeah, but it must be fun to play because you usually play the hero.
Usually I'm the hero kind of guy. It's very freeing to play that kind of stuff. It's nice to get out and thank you again to be able to do these other more unlikable roles.
My last thing for you. One of the things that James talked about and Peter is how everyone who signs on for DC, you're signing on for like an 8-10 year sort of thing. Obviously, I don't know how long you might survive or what, you know, the dynamics of everything, but what is it like for you to be entering this, you know, to sign on for someone who, and you could be playing this in video games, animation, live act, you know what I mean? Like, what's it like for you?
It makes me think about, would it be okay for John Nolan to have a bowl cut? Because then I wouldn't have to wear a wig for any of the Green Lantern stuff.
Or being asked whether you could commit the next 8 to 10 years of your life to somebody else than me.
Oh, I just kind of assumed that.
Nice.
We have to talk about this later.
I'm going to stop there, and I'm just going to say I really, sincerely to both of you, congrats on having the show be such a hit for so long. Right. It's really, really hard to do, and I wish you guys nothing but the best.
Oh,
Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thanks to you.
Thanks.